So, this was a good match, and a really good match for the two young ladies on my right here because they really stepped up. Um, you know, we need Sasha in that middle attacking position to establish herself as someone that people have to block. You know, and today now Fresno, San Diego State are going to see this, and they're going to be on it. So it'll probably be a little bit more difficult for her in the next two matches, but it's good for our whole team because it helps spread things out. And you could see after she got a few of those zero tempo kills that it opened it up for Brianna and Jess. And that's what we want. And Sasha hits the what we call the one set at a faster tempo than our other middles do. It's something they do in Europe. And she does it very well, and she did it really well tonight, and it was a surprise for Air Force, and so I was really proud of that. You know, we did a good job on, I think it's Bailey Keith. However, Sozi played really well against us as the match went on, and that was a really great performance by a good player. And she sometimes doesn't show up, but she really showed up tonight, so proud of her. And she was frustrating to deal with, and especially in the third set. But our team played a great game, really good balance in our offense. We passed the ball very, very well. I thought we were putting service pressure on them, but they were passing the ball well. So it was an interesting match from a serve and pass standpoint, but I was really pleased with our team. You know, 5 aces, 3 errors. I'll take that any day.
Sasha, you looked a lot more comfortable tonight. Did anything kind of change from you from Tuesday to now? I mean, how are you feeling tonight?
Something different definitely changed. I had time to practice as a middle and find my connection with Katie, and I was definitely more comfortable blocking and attacking as a middle today than Tuesday.
How hard can it be moving from the outside to the middle and almost redoing the whole entire connection with Katie?
It can definitely be difficult in the beginning, but I have a whole team to support me and help me out, and a good coach that always gives me advice on what I'm doing, so it works out.
Tom, I mean, where do you feel like this team is compared to what you see as maybe their ceiling, the peak of this team? I mean, where do you feel like you guys are at?
Well, we can be better. We can get better. I was talking about that in the locker room before this match. I think it's such a different dynamic in conference because both teams are very well prepared for each other and know each other really well. And so there's always really something some hurdle you have to jump over, you know. In the non-conference, it isn't that way. It's just two teams matching their wits against each other and matching their abilities against each other. We can improve, and I think that, I don't know, I challenged you couple of practices ago or whatever, and said, I felt like she was better earlier in the year in terms of how the height of her attack points and stuff. And I thought tonight she was awesome. And I thought she was playing the way she can play and probably better. I think she made better decisions tonight than she made in a lot of different matches. So I thought she was great. And then she made some adjustments and did some really nice things blocking for us. So it was a really good match.
Just in these last 2 years with how much you've grown as an outside, I mean, where do you feel like you're at? How much do you think you still can grow from where you're at right now?
I mean, I can definitely grow with the little things. I mean, I'm not going to go out and change my arm swing, but I can definitely fix just like shots and my mindset about if I'm in an out-of-system situation, where to put the ball and different things like that. So definitely room to grow.
Tom, how important is it to stay so clean like you guys were tonight, especially against a team like Air Force who routinely keeps it, pretty clean?
It was very important. That was one of our talking points before this match. They play clean and they play good defense. They outdug us, which I expected. But they, in the serving pass game, they were super clean, and they didn't hit a hole. They probably had more unforced errors than I might have expected them to have, but we were much better, and that's why we're as good as we are right now. Because we're not just an athletic, physical team. We play the game right, and we don't give points away. When we do, we become pretty average.
Well, even with Paulina out, a huge part of the offense, and on the on the blocking side of the ball. You still had 3 players go for double-digit
Yeah.
kills tonight. So outside of moving Sasha to middle, how did you foster the transition through the rest of the team?
Well, the reason we had all those double-figure kills because we passed the ball so well. That was the difference, and I think if we continue to pass like that, if we take that same service receive on the road, it's going to really help us because that's what we need to do. If we pass that well, we can balance a lot of people out. I told Katie in one timeout, I said, look, I want you to use Sasha in the same frequency that you would use Paulina, you know? Not necessarily, Paulina goes behind really, really well, so not necessarily in those same routes, but the same frequency of sets, and I think she did it, you know, and it worked out well for us.
Absolutely. Now it's 52 straight wins over Air Force, and a good amount of those have been under you.
Mhm.
So, I guess talk me through that dominance, I guess.
Listen, here's when people ask questions like that, it's like the whole key to what we do is to try to be consistent every day, no matter who we play, you know. And there are certain teams that we've been pretty dominant over. But we're not doing anything different. We're just trying to go out and be great and be excellent and prepare. We prepare for Air Force just like we were preparing for Wyoming, and so that, you know, that's the reason. And believe me, these guys know. I always want them to have an edge. I want them to think, hey, if you don't play well, these guys will beat you. You know, I want them to feel that way because I think we go onto the court never overlooking people. And so that's why we're consistent against a lot of the teams that we've been consistent against. And it's just a matter of trying to be excellent every day.
And speaking of that excellence, it's now been 3 straight weeks at number 14, despite going undefeated in all 3 of those weeks. I don't really agree with that. So I just want to get some of your thoughts.
Look, to me, the coaches poll, you get up to a certain point, and there are these superpowers up there that they could lose a match and they're not going to drop them below us. You know what I mean? That's all the coaches voting, and there's a lot of politics involved in that one. The one that's really important is the RPI, and we are dropping in that one because we're not getting a lot of, you know, mathematical points because of the Mountain West Conference didn't have great non-conference record. Some of those teams ahead of us there may drop down. You know, there are some teams that could take some losses toward the last part of the season, and I hope that does happen so that we can inch back up, because the biggest thing that I want to be in is the top 16 in RPI. I want to have a NCAA hosting opportunity for these guys at home and for our fans. That is the ultimate to me, and that's where we want to go. Sorry.
It's a new one. It'd be awesome. I remember coming here, I think it was my senior year in high school, so 2014 season, and they hosted, and it was packed to the ceiling. Like, it was the greatest thing ever to be a fan of and just to be able to go and watch. And I think becoming a player and being able to be in a position to host is so awesome. And I think just being able to have our family here and all of our fans supporting us would be just incredible.